Do you know what's terrifying? Time, and how fast it goes. Right now, time is just slipping away. On the 14th of July, I'm gonna be 25 years old. I still thought I was 22. Where did those years come from? Seriously, time is the scariest thing. Sorry, I'm not trying to give you an existential crisis. That is not the purpose of this video. Today I am doing the mid-year book freakout tag because it's already over halfway through the year of 2021. Yay! I'll have all the questions for this tag in the description if you want to follow along, and I'd love it if you left a comment with your answers. Best book you've read so far this year. I have a couple I want to mention with this one. First off is one that I'm not quite finished yet, Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. I have heard the ending is kind of predictable, so I guess we'll see if my opinion changes. But so far it's really good. I don't read a lot of sci-fi, but this is one of the best I've read. In my summer TBR video, a couple of you recommended the audiobook, and I happen to have a spare Audible credit, so I got it. And the narrator is so perfect for this book, so I'd recommend the audiobook if that's something you're into. The 5th season by N.K. Jemisin is also one of my new favorites. It follows a woman during the end of the world who's trying to hide her power while looking for her kidnapped daughter. Jemisin blew me away with her world building and her writing. It did take me a little while to get into because if you don't know, all the parts of this book that take place in the present are written in second person point of view. But she makes it work. Oh, and one more. This isn't a book, this is a manga, but One Piece. I have been reading a lot of One Piece lately. I have some videos in the works with my thoughts, so I won't go into it too much, but I'm loving it. Best sequel you've read so far this year. That goes to Arm of the Sphinx by Josiah Bancroft. I loved Senlin Ascends, but I think I like Arm of the Sphinx even more. I still need to read the 3rd book, but the sequel was amazing, and this series deserves so much more attention. New releases you haven't read yet, but want to. The House on the Cerulean Sea. It sounds really intriguing, and the cover is beautiful. John Gwynne published a new book, The Shadow of the Gods, and the cover is amazing for that book as well. The Black Tongue Thief. I actually picked this book up in the bookstore and read like a chapter of it, and now I want more. Most anticipated releases for the second half of the year. Hey guys, I heard The Doors of Stone is coming out this year. Skyward, Book 3 by Brandon Sanderson. I believe it's called Cytonic, and it's coming out this November. Also, Lux by Brandon Sanderson, which is a brand new Reckoners book. Now, I believe it's kind of a spin-off book, so you don't need to read any of the other Reckoners, but I do want to make some videos on the Reckoner series. Biggest disappointments. Why are you looking at me? Okay, this is kind of controversial, but Rhythm of War by Brandon Sanderson was very disappointing in my opinion. It had some really great moments. The beginning was extremely fast-paced. It hooked me right at the beginning, but then it let me down. And of course, being a Stormlight book, it's a gigantic book, so it was kind of a slog for me to get through. There was still some really great parts that I enjoyed, don't get me wrong. There's a ton of Cosmere reveals that I love, but it also felt kinda rushed. I made a whole spoiler-free video on why it's my least favorite of the Stormlight books, if you wanna watch that. To Sleep in a Sea of Stars was another disappointment. I actually DNF'd this book, I got about halfway through, and I just wasn't enjoying it that much. It wasn't terrible, I was just kinda bored, and I was already going through a reading slump, so I decided to put it down. Maybe I'll go back to it again sometime, I don't know. Biggest surprise. This actually goes to Rhythm of War again. I'm not gonna spoil anything, but there is a certain character that's heavily hinted at that I just wasn't expecting, and that was a huge surprise. I wonder if any of you could guess. Favorite new author, N.K. Jemisin. I know she's written a lot, but the 5th season was the first I've read of her, and yeah, she's definitely a new favorite. Also, Nicholas Eames. I was not expecting to enjoy Kings of the Wild as much as I did. Newest fictional crush. I'm gonna be boring with this one, and just say no one. I don't really have a fictional crush. Newest favorite character. One Piece isn't exactly new to me. I did read it when I was younger, but I don't really remember a lot about it, and Luffy is definitely one of my favorite characters. He's just so fun and determined and dumb and just overall lovable. A book that made you cry. I haven't read anything like the Farseer trilogy by Robin Hobb in quite a while now. There is some scenes in that series that made me so deeply sad. I guess I would say that in Rhythm of War there was one specific scene that made me pretty sad. A book that made you happy. Again, I have to mention One Piece because it makes me so happy. At first glance, people think this is just a really light, uplifting adventure, kind of childish, and it does come off that way at first, but then the series gradually gets darker and darker. It touches on more heavy themes, but at the same time, it still has that level of comedy and just lightheartedness to it. And I love how it has both of those things. Most beautiful book you've bought or received so far this year. One of you guys sent to my PO box this edition of The Two Towers, which I've been looking for, and now I finally have the set, and they look so good. What books do you need to read by the end of the year? I need to read more Wheel of Time. I want to get at least to book 7 or 8. Originally, I wanted to read them all this year, but I don't think that's gonna happen. I'd like to get to some more Discworld books. I'd like to read Rhyria Revelations. I need to read more Attack on Titan and Demon Slayer. The list goes on and on. So that is it for the mid-year book freakout take. Let me know your answers to the questions down in the comments, and I'm gonna go to bed now. Oh, it's only 9:30. I guess I am getting old. Smash that like button if you're also aging. If you're also dying, smash that like button.